SIP, soul into purpose. Purpose conversations, greater motivation. It's time to heal the nation. Guess what? Purpose is calling. SIP, 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. Akeelia putting her all in. Kingdom advancing, hey, no enemies falling. Me tell them say go, answer God's calling. Hey, there's no time for stalling. Hey, this is not just vain religion. It take dedication, energy, practice and vision. Because make your decision. Purpose you want our circumcision. Run the race with a willing heart, but cut the cost first before you start. Because they purpose is calling. Hey, 6 a.m. in the morning. Akeelia putting her all in. Kingdom advancing, hey, no enemies falling. Soul into purpose with Queen Akeelia. 6 a.m. every Wednesday morning. Press forward to your purpose and press into the Lord's resources for your surplus. Boom.
Hi there, Purpose Seekers. Thank you so much for joining us for another wonderful episode of the Sold into Purpose podcast. I'm your incredible host, Akeelia Thompson, and as always, it is a privilege to share time and a space with you. We're coming to you live straight out of Jamaica, 6 a.m. every Wednesday morning. So please let us know, what are you doing this morning? Are you in traffic, maybe getting the toddlers ready for school? I know that in the Caribbean, we're gearing up for the summer holidays and we're in neck deep in the C6 season. So shout out to all of those students who are doing their examinations. For some, we're tapping into the final exams and we're getting ready for the summer. For others, the teachers, I know that they're excited, but for the rest of us, we have to work right through. And perhaps you're working on the summer body, amen? We can't leave that out. But I just want to tell you so much. Thank you for joining us, especially to our purpose seekers. So we want to ensure that we help you to discover us in a manner that is most meaningful to you. So welcome to SIP, and each episode is a deep dive into the heart and soul of personal growth. This is where we provide you with practical insights, heartfelt stories, and actionable steps that you can use to live a more purposeful life. And just in case, we don't want you to miss out on the fun. So all you have to do is to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Akeelia Thompson. That is Akeelia Thompson on YouTube, as well as you can connect with us on all socials at Sold into Purpose. That is SOULED into Purpose. You don't want to miss it. And we recently launched, finally launched our website. That is at soldintopurpose.com. SOULED into purpose.com. So please feel free to stay connected with us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, everywhere, you name it. Just connect with us. Hit to that comment section and let us know that you are receiving the material that we're putting out. Share your feedback. Of course, we're open to feedback. And let us know what is your favorite episode and how we have been helping you thus far to live a more purposeful life. So today we have another 2-in-1 special. You've got that right. Last week we had a 2-in-1 special, and this week we have it again. So last week you heard from the incredible Dr. Kimar Brown, and she shared with you how you can live a more rooted life in purpose, because purpose is of utmost importance. You also heard from Miss Princess Williams, as she helped us to see how God can turn a mess into a message. So this week you don't want to miss out, because we have Mrs. Loyette Williams Morris, and she is here to show us how we can survive our toxic boss. Yes, maybe you're in the workplace and you're going through a lot, and you need some guidance, this will definitely help you to navigate the workspace. It's important for us to know, firstly, what are your rights and how you can elevate the corporate ladder. And then we're also tapping in and checking in the purpose zone with Sabrina Barnes. She's here to tell us all about women in leadership and the various roles and things that she would have taken on. She's a youth advocate doing so much for the community, and so it's important for us to support and highlight all the women and the impact and the work that they are doing. But I don't want to give it away. If you want to know exactly what we're up to today, guess what? All you have to do is to stick and stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode on the Sold into Purpose podcast. You know that we have to big up our community. Yes, all the wonderful purpose seekers. Thank you so much. And in particular, this week, as I would have shared previously, I am up for a nomination. Yes, the Posh Icon Woman Award. And so it's important for you guys. We need your support. We need the votes. The voting process is free and easy. It's under a minute, and we'll share that with you in a bit. We are nominated for the Empowerment in Action Award, and this will definitely be a big boost. It definitely validates the work that we have been putting in, and so we want to ensure that we can win this and of course position ourselves for other awards. This is not about me, it is more so about you and what we're building here at Sold into Purpose International, because we want this to transcend borders. So if you have not voted as yet, all you have to do, you can watch this video that will come up next, and you can also connect with us on all of our social medias at Sold into Purpose. That is SOULED into Purpose, and connect with us and get those votes in. We thank you so much in advance for your commitment to this process, and we pray that we'll be able to take this award home. Hey there, Purpose family. Thank you so much for your love and support. Want to help me bring this award home? Here's how you can vote in under a minute. Step 1, click the link in my bio or go to the link directly. Step 2, scroll to the category Empowerment in Action Award. Step 3, find my photo, Akeelia Thompson, and tap to vote. Step 4, hit submit and wait for your confirmation. Step 5, share with your friends, your group chats, your church fam, everybody. Your vote means the world to me. Let's make purpose win together. Hi there, Purpose Seekers. Thank you for staying with us. And this morning, as always, we want to acknowledge the one who has given us the skills and capabilities to do what we do with you guys each and every Wednesday morning. But this morning, my heart is a little bit heavy. There's so much that's happening across the globe, especially with our women and children. And I just want to take some time to pray over us this morning. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, as I come before your presence, mighty God, I lift up every heart that is searching this morning, mighty God, every soul that is wrestling with the question, why am I here? Lord, you are the author of purpose and the designer of destinies. You do not create without intent. And I believe that every person under the sound of this prayer has been fearfully and wonderfully made for such a time as this. For those who feel lost, awaken clarity. For those who are paralyzed by fear, release courage. For those who have been silenced by disappointment, mighty God, let your voice rise in hope again. Silence the noise of comparison and the lies of inadequacy. Remind them that they are not an accident. There's a reason that they were born, and that there's work that you have assigned to them, mighty God. You've said this to us in Jeremiah 29, verse 11. Father, we pray that you will reveal purpose not only in their mountaintop moments, but also in the valleys, also in their waiting season, mighty God, in that very heartbreak and in the process. Show them that purpose isn't always one grand moment, but a series of obedient steps, mighty God, in the direction of destiny. We pray that you surround us with voices that speak life and mentors that see beyond what they cannot see, mighty God. Ignite vision and plant divine dreams. Breathe fresh direction over everyone asking this question this morning, most of all, mighty God, remind them that you, mighty God, you've given us the purpose. You have given us life, and the greatest purpose of all is to serve you. Father, I pray that you'll just walk with us, mighty God. Help us to give the glory and the honor that is due unto your name. Let this be a season where our identity is solidified and confirmed in you, mighty God, where you'll reveal our assignments and you'll give us boldness to go to the next level. I pray, mighty God, that every wandering spirit upon our lives and our destiny, that you would just cancel it in this season. I pray that you'll help us to walk with intention and grace, knowing that your plan is greater than anything that we could ever think, ask, or imagine. These and other unmentioned mercies we ask of you, mighty God, and we tell you thanks. We decree and we declare by your blood that it is well in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you, Jesus. This morning, mighty God, we just want to seal this prayer with some words of declaration. First declaration, I am confident and capable of achieving my goals with clarity and purpose. 2, every challenge I face strengthens my growth and resilience. Third and final, I attract opportunities that align with my passion and values. And we decree and we declare that it is so. Coming up next, we're going to put a praise on it this morning. Hey there, Purpose family. Thank you so much for your love and support. Want to help me bring this award home? Here's how you can vote in under a minute. Step 1, click the link in my bio or go to the link directly. Step 2, scroll to the category Empowerment in Action Award. Step 3, find my photo, Akeelia Thompson, and tap to vote. Step 4, hit submit and wait for your confirmation. Step 5, share with your friends, your group chats, your church fam, everybody. Your vote means the world to me. Let's make purpose win together.
There will be no other God before you. Yeah. There will be no other God before you. If I gotta delete Instagram, that's okay. There will be no other God before you. If I gotta leave them, that's okay. There will be no other God before you. 'Cause there is no one above, no one beside, nobody. There will be no other God. I feel that, yeah. See, there is no one above, no one beside you, nobody like you, there is no one above, no one beside you, nobody like you, nobody like you, there is nobody like you, nobody. Search the world and I found there's nobody. Search the world and I found there's nobody who can heal like you. There's nobody who can keep like you. There's nobody who can save like you. There's nobody like you. Nobody like you. Nobody like you. For there's no one else like you. Who is faithful ever true, and all my love, every moment I live, for there's no one. Sing it to your God, who is faithful. You never leave me, you never leave me, won't forsake me, won't forsake me. No, you won't. So all my love, my heart, my life is a testimony. See all my love, all my love,
my heart, my life.
see all my love, all my love,
My love, my heart, my life
is a test. Be all glory and honor, dominion and power forever and ever. Amen. Be all
glory and honor, dominion and power forever and ever.
Join with the angels. Be all.
Glory and honor,
How? Join with the angels.
and power
Now and forever. Now and forever. Be all. And honor. Dominion. And power. Forever. Forever. Say be all. Now and forever you're worshipped. Dominion. Forever and ever you are holy. You're holy. We sing it, you are. We sing it, you are. We reverence you, you're holy. We reverence you, you're we reverence you are holy. You're holy. Could we just sing that. You guys sing it. This is what heaven sounds like. I see you, God, you're holy. Every time the angels get a new revelation of God, they sing. Now we who have experienced him every day of our life, how much more can we sing? I bet we can beat the angels. I bet we can beat Michael. I bet we can beat Mayfair. I bet we can beat him. Shout you holy. We've seen you as our healer. We've seen you as our provider. We've seen you as our healer. We've seen you all. You're holy, the one, the only Lord God Almighty. You're holy. You're holy. Say you're holy. We reverence your name.
They say the sons of Issachar knew the times and seasons, but sometimes life feels like a blur. The ups and downs, twists and turns. What's true? What's not? Who really knows? And yet, we're carried by His grace, held in His hands. Maybe, just maybe, this too was a part of His perfect plan. I'm Akeelia Thompson. Let the Grace series begin. In case you were just joining us, I'm your host, Akeelia Thompson. Welcome to the Soul into Purpose podcast. And you've just stepped right into the purpose zone. Today we have Sabrina Barnes, and she's here to teach us all about women in leadership. Yes, Sabrina A. Barnes is a dynamic youth advocate and emerging leader from Manchester, Jamaica. That's cool, Mandeville. She serves as the National Youth Parliament's opposition spokesperson on youth and entertainment, where she champions youth inclusion and constitutional reform. A former head girl and active member of the National Youth Council of Jamaica, Sabrina is also a law student at the University of the West Indies Mona campus. She is passionate about youth empowerment, civic education, and bridging generational gaps in governance. Her commitment to youth development is evident through her involvement with Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network and her contributions as a contributor to the Jamaica Gleaner. Sabrina's leadership exemplifies service listening and active participation in shaping a better future for Jamaica. Purpose seekers across the globe, please help me to welcome Sabrina A. Barnes to the Sold into Purpose podcast. Hi, Sabrina. Welcome, and how are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. I'm doing well, thanks. So, on Sold into Purpose podcast, we love to sip a lot. So, what is your favorite thing to sip on, Sabrina?
Matcha. I love some good matcha. I love coffee. Anything coffee related, anything milk related.
Awesome sauce. Thank you for sharing that. And we do love a little bit of coffee too. In a former life, I was a Nescafe student brand ambassador, so I've had enough coffee. And we just want to take it a little bit back, Sabrina. I know that you are so many things now, wearing so many hats, and potentially I see you as one of those future leaders. But take us back to baby Sabrina. What were her dreams and aspirations?
Well, baby Sabrina always wanted to be an attorney at law, watching different movies and different interactions with attorneys. I definitely wanted to be an attorney at law. I also liked the uniform, that little black and white and the bib that they wear. Loved the courtroom, just like what lawyers stood for. And I think at a very young age, I had to learn to stand up for myself. I had to learn to say no. I had to learn different etiquettes and efficacies of life. So from a little girl's perspective, I was very outspoken. So my dream was to be a lawyer, to represent other people and to, advocate on their behalf. So unlike other students, I probably changed their course of study from this to that, and they don't know what they wanted to do. Trust me, from as long as I knew myself, I knew I wanted to be an attorney at law or to just be in a position to advocate for people.
Awesome, that sounds good. But you mentioned the uniform, but you left out one important part of that, and that's the white wig. I don't know why you leave it out.
Because when I too Eurocentric and me no want weird that. Me no want weird that. I want to have my locks in the courtroom, please.
Awesome sauce. And we're so happy that you are on that pathway as we speak. But you grew up in Manchester, in cool Manchester, as we call it.
Yes.
And what were some of the things you believe that would have shaped you on your journey to success?
I think I do have intrinsic motivation just naturally as a young woman, just knowing that I don't have a gold spoon, so to speak. So I know that I don't have things waiting for me. I don't have no heritage, nothing waiting on me to say, okay, this is yours. You don't really have to do much work. It's already waiting on you. Just understanding that social context for me, I just feel like I just always had to do good. And I remember like probably earlier on in high school, I was more reserved and I really did much. I just did school and I was an academic and just extracurricular activities. I tell any student, if they want to find themselves, if they want to do work, if they want to actually be that student leader, star, and exceed their potential, join a club. Just be active in a club or a society, some extracurricular. I think that's really where it started for me. I was in one club, in a two club, in a three club, and I'm a president for a club. Then I was student council president, and I was head girl, and that's really just where everything skyrocketed for me. Just involvement and service, volunteerism as well. Back home, just giving back to homes, doing charities, donation drives, all of that stuff really helped to mold Sabrina today.
Awesome, and thank you for sharing that. And I definitely agree with it. Myself being in a lot of clubs and societies and even had the opportunity to form some. And we just want to advocate because not only because it was a part of our journey specifically, but to students who are out there, develop a skill set. You never know where your opportunity will come from. So it's important not to block your blessings, as they would say. So join a club. That's your first gem for today. So we're still growing up, Sabrina, and you noted that you would have experienced some circumstances, perhaps some loss. Can you tell us what those experiences were?
I mean, I think I did not grow up in the Orthodox home growing up. So, the nuclear family where you have your mommy and your daddy and they're married happily and they ensure that the children are okay. That was not my life at all. At one point, I had both parents. At one point, I had one. At the next point, I had none of them were there. And the next point, one of them jumped in. So it was a case where I had to just adjust very fast. And I feel like that helped me know because, moving from Manchester to Kingston up here, oh God, move so fast. It's like one thing happening the next day, something happened the next day, and you just have to really adjust to the circumstances. But yes, growing up, I didn't really have it easy when it comes to family relations. But I think I learned how to build community with the same clubs and societies and students back at school and just friends and just people who have the same goals as you. They become your community and, good friends better than pocket money for true. So, I feel like I formed my own community and my own family despite the circumstances. I know obviously having a more functional family would definitely make me a better person, but I can't discredit the fact that it also has helped me to be thick-skinned. It has helped me to adjust to any harsh circumstances. I am a daddy's girl for sure, regardless of the circumstances. And unlike many Jamaican girls, I can attest to having a very present father in my life, even today. Call me 24/7 and ensure that I'm okay. Unfortunately, I don't have that great relationship with my mother, but I think it's something, especially in the future, I would love to mend, love to try to, I can't bring back anything that has happened in the past, and I can't try to enjoy that now, but what I can do is to mend it so it can be something worth, having, but definitely it was a lot. And I mean, sometimes, in the same community, you lose loved ones, especially if they're not family, but they've been family to you. I've had some losses that I had to be like, oh God, but I feel like it also has helped to build me, and I think that despite the losses, I think that they're still here in spirit and they're watching me grow. And sometimes, every now and again, I give homage to the people who have helped me along the way. So it's not what I wanted, but I'm able to take the good from it and to grow.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And we just want to say shout out to all the parents. We do understand that there isn't any perfect rule book. And even to the ones who are not, we still give credence to you because we're here. And because we're here, we can change that trajectory for somebody else and even have the opportunity to create that impact in the lives of those who are around us. And for those who were not blood but became family, we also want to thank you as well because in different scenarios, and even myself, I can attest to that there are some people you meet complete strangers, but the value and the impact that they have on your life is nothing like you've ever
Yeah.
experienced. So I want to thank those persons. But Sabrina, to somebody who is out there now, perhaps they are in the dysfunctional situation or they would have moved on from it, moved on from the situation, but mentally they're still in that space. What would you say to them in order for them to take the next step forward into another phase of their life?
Well, what I say is that healing is not a solution, it's a process. And I think today I'm still healing from all the trauma that I faced as a child growing up. I think sometimes we're looking for too much solutions in life and we're afraid to take on the process, the journey of just continuing mentally and just trying to understand the circumstances. With me, I definitely don't hate my mother. I mean, of course, I dislike the many actions that would have happened in the past, but sometimes I do empathize with her. As you said, there's no rule book. She never really got the opportunity to prepare for me, really and truly. So I think things like that, just allowing you to be very, empathetic and understanding, and just understanding is a process that you have to just willingly take on. It's not a solution. And just try to pour yourself into other roles. So like, for example, for me, I know I never really got much of that love and care and emotion. And that's why I pour myself into charity and donating and to philanthropy, because I'm able to pour love into somebody else's life, and that makes me happy. So, try to place your love into other facets of life, and it will help you along the way as well. And be open to talk about it. Once you talk about it, you'll hear some circumstances that other people face, and they're way worse than what you've been going through. And you're just so thankful at the same time, because you'll be like, my circumstance was bad, but people out here living worse lives, and they are happy. If they can find joy, you can find joy too. So it's not the end of the world. You're not a sad story. You are going to be great regardless of your circumstances, but you just have to understand that you have to be willing to start the process. You have to understand it's a process, and you have to just be willing to talk to anybody that asks about it. Be willing to respond, be willing to share your story, be willing to just volunteer and to help people that you see in similar circumstances to you. And that will allow you to feel better about the situation. And who knows, the same persons that were villains in your story become people who help you along the way. So it's just being optimistic and open to the possibility that things can change, but you also have to be open to that change as well, to understand that people are living worse circumstances than you are, and you're still able to be happy regardless.
Amen to that. And I love that you said that healing is not a solution, it's a process. And most definitely, we have to start the journey, be real about the situation, even though sometimes some situations can be a little bit, we know how it is, but at the end of the day, we have to move on and become all that God has called us to be. So you rightfully mentioned that through your pain, you found purpose. And we have to ask you, Sabrina, what does purpose mean to you?
It means understanding that every day that you wake up, you have a calling, you have something that you have to do that is going to allow you to reach one step further in life. And I think that my guiding philosophy also helps me to understand my purpose, that when others are sitting, you stand. When others are standing, you stand out. When others are standing out, you be outstanding. And when others are being outstanding, you be the standard. So you feel like every day that you wake up one morning, you just know that you have to hit the road. You have to be doing something productive. You have to be contributing to somebody else's life. You have to plan an event. You have to talk to somebody that you know might be in need, answer somebody's message today. Your purpose can be so many different things, where you just have to apply yourself, because you're not somebody regular when you're doing extraordinary things to help the world to be a better place. So I feel like my modus operandi, just waking up every day, I always have something doing the next day, even things I don't even plan. Just waking up is the next opportunity to be a change in an environment that is not so good, that needs a bit of positive influence. So I feel that my purpose is to be the change I want to see in society. Some little small acts can just make the world better. I know I'm not a superhero to save Jamaica for sure. I'm going to need a whole team. But I feel like my little small efforts does bridge little gaps and help me to connect with our community. So yeah.
Awesome sauce. I was about to say is the S04 superwoman, but rightfully mentioned that. And thank you for sharing. But Sabrina, you said get up every day, find something to do, or small efforts, they can mean much to someone. But my question to you is, why youths? Why women? How did you arrive to that calling to know that this is a specific group of people that I am called to in this time and in this season?
Well, I feel like as a young person myself, I feel like we're underrepresented in this country. I feel like there's an expectation that young people, we are nuisance to society. Yeah, man, you just want to hear say something happen to somebody. I want a youth shoot him, or a youth drop out of school, or a youth, yes, man, the girl love, man. It's like, when it comes to young people, there's just so many things attached to us, and not much positive things. Like, for example, when I was in first form, I was in sexy subjects, and that was so shocking to people. And I'm like, young people have so much potential to do so much great things. The things highlighted on our news platforms, for example, when young people do some things, it's like they're so surprised that we're able to have the capacity to do all of this good stuff. So I'm like, I want to represent young people to the point where we are going to just be great people in society and we don't care about what won't happen to anybody, because young people can do so much more than they think of us. And sometimes we just want that extra push. Sometimes we need a little workshop, a little capacity building training to say, yes, man, we deserve this.
Awesome.
For women and girls, you did
Mhm.
ask that. So, as I said, growing up, I am, that is girl. So, my very first little menstrual experience was definitely not planned for. My mom was not around. We never really get much talk about certain things. You get what I'm saying? So, I never really understood the mechanic. I knew what the menstrual cycle was. I knew what a period was. But I never was expecting that it would happen to me anytime soon or anything like that. So I said, you know what? Yeah, it just happened to me. I was in the bathroom one day and my father, he just stepped in and he just did it. He was just, he really saved me. And I don't really expect it because, he's a man. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is really something I definitely want to understand more. And then when I understood that we have period poverty in Jamaica, I'm like, no, man, this is more something I can work in. I don't have no money, but this is definitely something I'd want to inspire other girls about. And then I did a little small donation to the university that I attend currently.
Mhm.
And then a school reached out to me, not necessarily school, but a student from my school reached out to me. And she was like, her friend was using newspaper and they want to get some help for her. And that story touched me. Like, newspaper is uncomfortable, unsanitary. And I'm like, okay. So I reached out to a few people that I knew and, connected with a few foundations that work in a similar field. Just, people with like-minded goals. And I made it happen. So currently now, I have a little cupboard at the school with my name on it, a little red cupboard that is just for the school, just for them. I ensure that I restock it and all the females from that specific school can have products, and on campus I donate to halls of residence and all that stuff. So I think it's just me understanding that, yeah, definitely you can make a little change here and there once you see the need for it. I won't say that I'm spearheading period poverty in Jamaica, because Her Flow Foundation has been there working with me. Her Flow Foundation is where I get the items from. Her Flow Foundation is where I, seek advice and guidance from. So for me, it's really just understanding that galvanizing community and just support a part of, my walking life and wherever I can connect the dots I will.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And for persons who are out there, if you want to add to this very positive initiative, I mean, personally, I'm with the mantra that the pad should be free because Lord.
Yeah.
But if you are out there and you're willing to contribute to our worthy cause, we do invite you, as we'll share those credentials a little later. You also shared, Sabrina, that one should faith it until you make it. All right. So what does that mean to you, and how has faith played an integral role in your journey?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think that there is always room for me to be closer with the Lord.
Mhm.
And I also believe that, based on just growing up, I've had so many misconceptions of what faith meant until I understood that, faith is the evidence of things not seen and everything hoped for. And I just understood that you just have to have that interpersonal connection with God. You can't watch other people's lives and try to connect with the Lord. And I feel like personally for me, what I mean by faith it till you make it is just understand that you have it in you already. The potential is just there, it's just not unleashed. So you're just going to try it out just based on faith, just understanding that it's not in front of you. You cannot see it. There's no evidence of it in front of you, but you can do it regardless. And just try it out. For all the things that I've done, public speaking, things like that. I never really get no public speaking training, but I can go on a platform and speak from my heart without stuttering and being eloquent and articulate. And that's because I tried it. I faked it till I make it. I never fake it, I faced it because I understood that I had the potential to do something great. And I know that God is going to be with me regardless of the circumstances. And that every opportunity is a lesson. I never think that anything is a loss, really. It's either you win or you learn. So I feel like it's a case where I just understood that I just had this grave amount of potential. And there was nothing that could bring me down regardless. So I'm going to have the faith, I'm going to get it done. And even if it's not the favorable outcome, at least I'm learning along the way.
So for those who are listening and watching, this is just what I said. So Sabrina, believe in herself, you know. And we really have to do that. Sometimes the journey requires us to just take one step. I mean, if we even look at other person's journey, we say, whoa, they're at that level, but the reality is they had to start. And so no matter where we're at, if we don't start, God has nothing to work with. And a part of exercising our faith is to ensure that we give him something to work with, because he will bless the works of our hands. So thank you for that wonderful breakdown, Sabrina. But beyond your charitable events, you are also a global leader. I'm not sure why you're being so shy about it. I know you've done quite a bit. So tell us about all your wonderful works, or in summary, that you are a part of. You are also a student leader. So tell us about those opportunities as well.
Well, tracking back from high school, I was a part of National Secondary Students Council, Jamaica Prefects Association, and currently at the University of the West Indies, I'm a Jamaica Youth Ambassador to the Caribbean, which means that working with CARICOM and United Nations and UNICEF, we have to draft policy prescriptions that help us to attain sustainable development goals. So I know Jamaica is not going to reach Vision 2030 based on, just how our development index is right now. But that doesn't mean that we can't have small efforts that allow us to reach sustainable development. So I'm a part of that cohort of young people that ensures that we add the youth voice, because we believe nothing for us without us is for us. So if we want sustainable development as a nation, and the young people's voice has to be included. So I represent Jamaica to ensure that, we have policies that are favorable to our social context, that match up to our social well-being and standards, counted for when it comes to global decisions, when it comes to healthcare and all the sustainable development goals. I particularly work when it comes to SDG number 5, and that's gender equity, ensuring that women, girls especially, and marginalized communities are advocated for. We speak about, their inclusion in leadership and society and all that good stuff. And also, sustainable development goals that have to do with education, and, the ones that have to do with my niche and law and reform and social justice. So yes, I do a bit of global leadership and student leadership.
For somebody who is still feeling stuck, could you just give them a word of encouragement at this particular point in time?
I will always draw for my guiding philosophy, when others are standing, you stand out. When others are standing out, you be outstanding. And when others are being outstanding, you seem to be the standard. At every step of the game, you're trying to be the better version of yourself.
Awesome sauce. And for those who want to connect with Sabrina to either help with any of your initiatives, or perhaps they believe you have excellent leadership capabilities, how can we connect with you?
Sabrina Barnes JM on all platforms, on Instagram and TikTok. My email is sabrinabarnesjm@gmail.com. So yeah.
So she's fully branded, everyone. And for those who didn't catch that, have no fear. We'll have it on screen as well as in the caption. So you'll definitely be able to connect with Sabrina. But before I let you go, Sabrina, can you just share something that is on your heart, either a word of encouragement or something to our listeners and viewers? What will be your final thoughts to them?
So no matter what happens in life, there's always an opportunity for us to learn, for us to grow, and for us to understand our surroundings and how better to adapt, and how better to understand that things happen because, they needed to happen for us to have some experiences in life. Life is filled with ups and downs, and that allows our lives to be balanced.
Thank you, Sabrina. Today we learned that irrespective of the circumstances, good or bad, we can always learn something. We never truly experience a loss, but it also gives us an opportunity to gain a lesson, and we should be intrinsically motivated. Even though we did not receive what we wanted to for our journey, we can definitely create impact and be the change that we wish to see in the world. And remember that healing It is not a solution, but instead it is a process. If you are out there and you wish to connect with Sabrina, you may do so by sending her an email at sabrinabarnesjm@gmail.com. That is SabrinaBarnesjm@gmail.com. You may also follow her on Instagram at Sabrina Barnes JM. That is SabrinaBarnesjm. Are you ready to refocus, refuel, and reignite your purpose? Whether life has been chaotic or fruitful, it's time to pause and reset. Join us for the Purpose Reset, the mid-year faith check-in, a free virtual gathering for anyone who wants clarity, courage, and purpose on Saturday, June 28th at 6 p.m. live on Zoom. Come and get your free purpose journal and a surprise giveaways. Register now at soldintopurpose.com. That's SOULED intopurpose.com. Don't miss it, and do come with a friend. See you soon. It's time to reset. Don't miss it.
Hi, and welcome to Body Essential Skin Center. I am Dr. Allison Youngchin, your clinical and cosmetic dermatologist. So Body Essential Skin Center, we're here to treat a variety of skin concerns. We take care of hair, nails, and skin disorders and diseases. So if you're looking for a specialist to care for you, to give you a holistic care, come and see us. We are located at 40 Shortwood Road, Unit 2B, Shortwood Professional Business Center, Kingston 8, St. Andrew. Of course, you can call us at 876-755-5555, or you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So if you're looking to move face forward, come and see us.
Hi there, Purpose Seekers. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful soul story. Today we have Mrs. Loyette Williams Morris, and she's here to show us how we can survive a toxic boss. Loyette Williams Morris is a distinguished HR and industrial relations professional, mediator, mentor, and entrepreneur dedicated to fostering fair and effective workplace policies. As the founder and CEO of the Career Room, she leads a consulting firm specializing in mediation, industrial relations, and financial consulting. This also helps to provide businesses with expertise to navigate complex employee relations, resolve disputes, and ensure regulatory compliance. With over a decade worth of experience, Loyette has cultivated a deep understanding of employment law, workplace conflict resolution, and organizational strategy. She holds a law degree from Guyana, an associate degree in labor from the College of Labor and Corporate Studies in Trinidad, and a postgraduate diploma in human resource management from Mind in Jamaica. Currently, she is pursuing a master's in HRM at Liverpool John Moores University in the UK to further solidify her expertise in the field. She's an advocate for good industrial relation practices, as Loyette is committed in helping organizations foster equitable workplaces while maintaining compliance with labor laws. Her expertise spans industrial relations strategy, mediation, conflict resolution, and ensuring that the business operates with fairness and sustainability. She is also the author of Surviving a Toxic Boss, an insightful guide that equips professionals with the tools they need to overcome a toxic work dynamic. And it also helps you to reclaim your confidence and take charge of your career. Purpose Seekers, please help me to welcome Loyette to the Sold into Purpose podcast. Hi there, Purpose Seekers. Thank you so much for joining us for another wonderful episode on the Sold into Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Akeelia Thompson, and as always, it is a privilege to share time and space with you. Welcome to Soul Stories, and this is where we invite our very remarkable guests who are here to share with us their stories, provide some insights so that we can use it to live a more purpose-driven life. Today, we have our wonderful guest, and she is an entrepreneur. She is a HR professional and so much more, also an author. And I'm sure you'll be interested in what her publication and everything as it relates to that. She's also a woman of faith, a wife, a mom, and she is here to also tell us about striking that balance between home, life, career, and all those good things. Today, we have Mrs. Loyette Williams Morris, and it is a privilege to have her with us this morning on the Soul into Purpose podcast. So please, everyone watching and listening, help me to welcome Loyette to SIP. How are you, Loyette? Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Kila. I am doing well. Thank you for asking, and thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. So this is SIP podcast, and we can't let you go further without asking you, what is your favorite thing to sip on?
Mango passion daiquiri.
Okay, sounds cool. And we just want to go back a little bit, Loyette, because you are so many things now, and we'll definitely tap into that a little bit later. But baby Loyette, what were her dreams and aspirations? Because you're in Jamaica now, but you weren't originally here. So tell us about growing up in Guyana.
Baby Loyette, young Loyette, wanted to be a teacher first. And then she decided she wanted to be a lawyer. And I grew up in the deep, deep country on the east coast of the Mar in Guyana, and I was a full-fledged country girl. School was a must for me. My family drilled it in me that that is a non-negotiable for me, and it has benefited me to this day. So I'm happy that it's something that they instilled in me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a calm, cool, collected, introverted, sometimes extroverted young lady growing up.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And you noted that it doesn't matter where you come from, you can achieve anything. What would have prompted you to come to that conclusion? I know that we're still in the Caribbean region, Guyana, Jamaica, respectively, but what from your circumstances would have said to you, hey, no matter what my circumstances are currently, I am going to put my head to the wheel and I'm going to make it.
If I had listened to a person's prediction on my life, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Mhm.
I grew up early on the poor side, and a lot of persons, when you don't come from a certain level of wealth or even middle class, they already have your future written in stone,
Mhm.
especially when your environment also allows for that, where persons are getting pregnant early, persons are dropping out of school, and all of that. But I had a prayerful mom, I had a watchful mom, and I had a good set of legs growing up. I purposed in my heart that I want more. And I
Mhm.
think that was where it started for me. I wanted more, I wanted better. So I find myself enrolling in stuff, not even knowing where the money is coming from. Faith of a mustard seed. That is what it was when I found myself. I went to school. I said I want to be a lawyer. I went, did well at CSEC, did well at KIT, decided to enroll into university, um, got my bachelor's in law, and then I said, hey, I want to go to Trinidad, and I just purposed in my heart that I want to do it, and God made a way for it to be done. And that is why I say it doesn't matter where you come from. Have a dream and have faith, because the only person that has the last say in your life is God. But you also need to have faith that it can happen. You need to feel that purpose in your heart that I'm gonna do this
Mhm.
because God promised to me is that He's gonna fulfill that. So that's why I keep saying it doesn't matter where you come from,
Mhm.
and if does as it relates to countrywide too, like you're not limited to your country. Spread your wings. There are so many opportunities out there, and you wouldn't be able to access it unless you take a chance on yourself.
Awesome. So, for those who are listening and watching, take a chance on yourself. You mentioned that these things speak to us, and God has a final say. There is this quote from Reverend Lucy Natasha. She says that when God speaks, every other speaker becomes a noisemaker. And I really love that because when we're growing up, so many things speak to us: our environment, the people around it, a mentor, sometimes even our family members. But you also noted that bad times, they don't last forever. And perhaps someone is where you were currently and they're saying, okay, just I believe in myself and all of these good things, but it's hard because of the circumstances around me. Can you just speak to that individual, male or female, right now in that spot? What would you say to them to give them that push to go forward?
I would tell them that when you're in it, it may seem as though there is no end, but you wouldn't know whether there is light unless you keep going.
Mhm.
It always seems overwhelming and it seems overpowering when you're in it, especially when you don't have persons around you who may empower you. There may be a lot of persons around you or your crowd around you that can push you farther into that depressive state that
Mhm.
makes you feel it doesn't get any better than this. But a lot of persons often tell me, and it's something I believe, that when you're going through stuff, it means that God is preparing you for something bigger. And when the devil knows that you are about to achieve something big, he comes harder. And we
Mhm.
have to understand that just as how God is working to bring us to a state of abundance, the devil is also working over time to allow you to get imposter syndrome, to allow you to think that you're not good enough, that you can't
Mhm.
reach where you want to go, and all of these things. But you just have to believe in yourself and don't stop, don't quit, keep going.
Awesome. That sounds like a Nike tagline. Just do it. Don't stop. You mentioned God, and that's true. In the process, it might feel overwhelming, but you also mentioned earlier that we must have faith as small as a mustard seed. So tell me, Loyette, how important was faith in your journey of realizing what your purpose is?
It was major, and that is one thing I will always give credit to my mom for growing me up in the church. Because even as young people, we tend to sometimes sidestep the church as we get older. That faith that has been embedded in your life from a young child, it gives you comfort when you start to face hard times. And that faith is what has allowed me to
Mhm.
excel and to keep going because I have met a lot of stumbling blocks in my life. And there are a lot of times where I wanted to quit. And I often tell people the biggest thing you can have in your life is faith. Because when you're home alone and you don't have friends, you don't have family around, and you have all of this chaos in your mind, unless you have faith, you're not going to make it through because faith provides comfort. Faith allows you to know that you know what? It's going to be okay because we know who holds your future. We know the promises that person has made to you. So faith has played a big role in my life, and I know that it will continue to play a big role, not just in my life, but in my family's life going forward.
Awesome, awesome. And you mentioned studying quite a bit. So she has quite the academic qualifications that we'll touch in a little bit. But you had those studies completed and you would have moved on into your career. And so, lawyers, you want us to tell us. Don't spare any information, no, just teasing you. But you have a book which we'll also talk about in a bit, but it's called Surviving a Toxic boss, and we just want to hear your story. What was your experience? Because man, that must have been something for you to write it because your book is a testimony. I'm sure it recounts your experience, but it also gives persons valuable insights on how we can navigate the corporate world and even in business and life in general. Because most of us, even if we ultimately become entrepreneurs, we would have started there in corporate or working in the public sector. So the floor is yours to take us. Tell us what was that inspiration all about?
I have worked in 3 countries so far, and one of the things that have remained constant is the level of toxicity in some of the workplaces. And I feel as though talking about the toxic boss is so taboo. People get scared to speak up, they get scared to say, hey, I'm going through this. And they suffer in silence. And I was one of those persons as well, where you go home and you rethink all of the things that happened and ways in which you could have answered, and all of these things that can drive you so crazy. So when I say the inspiration was never ending, it just kept coming. And what I wanted, I find myself trying to heal from the toxicity I have experienced. And I would find myself looking for videos on YouTube, reading books, talking to friends, and it's like there's some of the times where my friends can't even help me because they're experiencing toxicity too. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a book, not just about my story, but I'm gonna try to help others. And I find I have been in the working world for a decade, almost a decade, and what I realize is that people do not prepare high school or university students for the world of work.
Mm.
I tell persons that corporate is high school mean girls times five. If you think you met mean girls in high school, you're gonna have the shock of your life when you enter corporate. And a lot of persons who have never worked before, they come into corporate with the view that, oh my God, I'm just gonna make money and everything is gonna be hunky dunky. And then you are met with your first terror and you want to quit, you want to give up, you want to just give up on the corporate world. So my book is not just to help persons who are going through toxicity, it's also to help people who are toxic to stop being toxic, but also prepare persons coming into the corporate world on how to address, how to deal with these levels of toxicity in the workplace. I'm not shy away from a topic that needs to be spoken on.
And when we talk about toxic, can you describe for us? Because maybe persons are going through stuff, it might feel overwhelming, but if you can give us at least maybe 3 characteristics that are telltale signs that this is a toxic boss, this is a toxic environment, what would you describe that as to our listeners and viewers?
The first thing I would say is that they have narcissistic tendencies, and that is in the sense that they always try to make you feel as though you're the problem. They come down on you for every little thing. They use their insecurities and they project it on you to make you feel as though you're not enough.
Mm-hmm.
They lash out at you, they criticize your work, they gaslight you. They try to control you, and when they can't control you, they try to control other narratives, other people's narrative of you. And those things may not be true that they're telling, but the point is to isolate you and push you in a corner where you either leave or you feel so small and timid that you cowered under them. Those are some of the telltale signs to look at. They micromanage, they manipulate, they isolate, and they control.
You just mentioned micromanaging, and for some employers or in some organizations, they would say we micromanage because we want the best level of productivity from our employees. What is your take on that?
I think there are ways in which you can lead people, and it doesn't have to entail micromanaging. If you feel as though someone isn't putting their best foot forward, you can apply some level of transformative coaching that can get them to that point. And you can lead people without belittling them. You
Mhm.
can lead them damaging their confidence. You can lead them without isolating them. So there are different strategies to get the work done without attacking your employees and making them feel less than.
Thank you for sharing that. And for those, as you mentioned, the book is also to help those who are toxic to identify that they are this particular way. Where do you think this level of toxicity comes from? Is it that they feel threatened? Because I've been in situations where I've had that. I mean, persons who I believe at that particular point in time, they would have more than me in terms of affluent status and everything. But you get into the workspace and there's maybe something about you, you do it a little bit different and it creates this big stir that ultimately creates an atmosphere that was nothing that you were hoping for. So is it from a place of insecurity? Is it a personality thing? What's your take on that?
There is something called Peter's principle, and
Mhm.
that is where you promote somebody to their level of incompetence. So someone may be doing an excellent job with the hands-on work, but as it relates to supervising people, they haven't mastered. A lot of persons don't understand that when you're supervising, managing, leading people, you have to lead with grace, you have to lead with empathy. And if you have insecurities, you have to deal with your insecurities and not project it on others. Because oftentimes it is not even about your work or you doing it differently. There are some managers who see you doing the work better than them and they get fearful for their own job. So they have to attack you. They have to come at you hard because you need to know your place. You can never surpass them. They are the top. You're the bottom. So they want you to know that instead of using your talents and harnessing your talents to make the department better,
Mhm.
they have to crush your spirit because that makes them feel good about themselves. There's some of them are so insecure that they don't even want to have their staff speaking because they immediately think, "Oh, you're talking about me? Is it me you're talking about?" Or there's some like where I said there's no kids in the workplace. So they come at you crazy and you're like, "Excuse me, I'm an adult, speak to me properly." And immediately they're offended because how dare you, an adult, say speak to me with respect. I am higher than you, so I can speak to you in any way possible, any way that I feel like. So that's where the toxicity comes into play when managers, supervisors, whomever they are, when they have no self control, poor self worth, and a high level of insecurities in not just themselves personally, but in their own abilities.
And you mentioned earlier that for those who are coming from sixth form high school or even their undergraduate studies from university coming into the world of work, because I had the dream too, that you come, you go to work, you make the money, you'll have the house, the land, and the car with the white fence. But when you go to it, you realize that that's not the reality. For some places, because you're an HR professional, and it took me a little bit when I just started out because I believe I was very competent in what I could do. And so my focus then was more so on the work. But I completely missed the fact at that particular point in time that there's something that is called the organization culture. And so I wasn't necessarily blending into the culture so well. I realized that I was doing excellent at the task, but when you're looking at the overall score, the culture thing was just not my thing. And it took me a minute to catch up to the culture. So, what is your take on organization culture and how can persons navigate that? Because some cultures have been built for decades and you can't just go in and knock it down in order for you to survive. I mean, it requires some level of adaptability if you that is where you really want to be. So, what would be your advice to those who are just entering that space?
I would say the first thing I must highlight is that culture begins at the top. The top, as in management, sets the pace as to what the culture is within. Because if the lower level employees still want to have grace and they want to have some marjorie, but management does not support that and you have a lot of toxicity, it's never going to be best. There's always going to be an issue. And as a young person entering into the workplace, I would say that if you go into a workplace and it's very toxic and you can afford to leave, leave.
Mhm.
Toxic culture is damaging not just on your mental health, but also on your physical health. Stress kills, literally. A lot of diseases are developed from stress. And being in a toxic environment can be stressful.
Mhm.
Now, if it is that you cannot leave immediately, I always encourage people to plan your exit strategy. Because while you learn to cope, which is what my book allows person to do if they can't leave immediately as well, while you will learn to cope, there is always something that is going to knock you off your feet that you've never expected
Mhm.
in a toxic environment. Because a lot of us go into the workplace, oh, it's work, it's professional. And you find that there are a lot of unprofessional people in the professional space, especially when they are at the top. So while you're learning to cope, also plan your exit. It is not healthy to be in a workplace that you have there are people who cry before sit in their car and cry before going in. There are persons who take a break just to cry, step out just to breathe. That's not healthy. And you cannot be functioning like that for the rest of your life in a workplace. There's always somebody that's gonna pay you more money. And I always tell people it should never be about the money. Yes, money is needed, money is good, but your headspace, your mental health is very valuable. And you're going to find a place that suits you. But you wouldn't unless you take the leap of faith and step out. Save while you can. Make your exit strategy, but do not stay in a toxic environment.
I'm glad that you said that, and that your book also caters to persons leaving, because more often than not, and not only in the workplace, but in relationship and anything else, we need to know when it is time to go, because as you rightfully mentioned, mental health is priority, and that is something that I am advocating for in this season, and would have had previous guests who spoke about that. My pastor shared once, she said there's a thin line between sanity and insanity, and so many of us, we don't know what is that one thing that can tip us over. So as best as we can, let us preserve our minds, our well-beings, and our health as it relates to that. To a boss out there, Loyette, who constantly having a lot of turnover and can't understand why. What would you say is the causing, well, some factors behind that, and what would be your recommendation? Because there are some organizations, it's every other week there is a job post. What's happening there?
I think most of the time the bosses know just why, but they're in denial because there are some bosses that just can't accept that it's you. And we all know the code that says people don't leave the work, they leave their bosses. And
Mm,
that's a fact. Because when your workplace is healthy, even though you know you want more money, you find it hard to leave because you're like, God, I love it here.
mhm,
The bosses are well aware. No, and I must posit that it's not always the bosses. Right?
mhm,
It could be a toxic coworker, it could be anything. But a lot of times it is the toxic boss. They're well aware. But introspection apparently is a very expensive um, item for them where they can never say, you know what, I have failed. I need to take accountability for this, and I'm gonna make it better. I'm gonna do better. You don't find a lot of them saying that. You know what they say? We'll always get another one. Somebody else is gonna come. We're gonna hire somebody else. Somebody else gonna want the money. And then the turnover just keep going because persons are coming in, and the same way they're coming in, they're like,
mhm,
out. So the turnover will continue to be plentiful unless persons take accountability for their action. And honestly, you don't find a lot of persons doing that because they know the market is saturated. and they're just willing to replace that individual because eventually being the odd man out and saying I'm not accepting toxicity, you become the problem. You always become the problem. So they paint you as a target and they're like, oh, we got rid of the problematic employee, not knowing that the problematic person is still in there. Um, but it requires introspection. It requires you, as a boss, actually looking at yourself and wanting to do better, wanting to be better. And a
Mhm.
lot of them is not scared to do that because in their mind, we have the power, we have authority, and that's sufficient.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And just one more thing from the workplace for those who are entering the new space. And this is something that possibly I didn't do in the initial stages of my corporate journey, but how can we negotiate one's salary? I know that the job market is sticky and stuff like that, but more often than not, persons are fearful about the topic, the money thing. And I know that you want to be there to make an impact, to also fulfill your goals as well as the organization goals. But let's be real, we have bills and things to take care of. And at the end of the day or the end of the month, we need that money. How do we negotiate that or have that salary conversation?
The first thing I will tell persons is that each organization that is hiring already has a set budget. And some of them are fair enough to pay you what your true wage is,
Mhm.
and some are not. I think going forward, what person should be asking when you're asked what is your salary expectation, you should beforehand have research, try to reach out to different people. You have so many social medias that will allow you to get somebody to see what is the value like there.
Mhm.
Also, if you have several level of experiences, you of yourself should know the value you want. But when you're in an interview as well, what you should consider asking them is, I know that there is a set um, salary scale for
Mhm.
this position, and would you mind sharing with me what that salary scale is? So it gives you an idea of what the minimum to the maximum is. And within that scale, you have a lot of wiggle room because it is not always that you have to start at the minimum. Organizations pay for value and they pay for worth, not just what you are worth, but you knowing what you are worth. And if you sell yourself short a lot of times, they will take up that short stick and hand it to you. And with that being said, you have to know when to walk away because if somebody is going to dangle a short stick at you and you know that is not what you are worth, but you jump at it, there's a high possibility that you're going to regret it later. Because when you're in an organization and you find out the true value that they would have paid, and you realize that they have paid you lower, you start to feel some type of way.
Mhm.
And then you realize the work is so much, but it doesn't match the money, and this wasn't the true value of the money, and you start to plan your exit out. So one of the things you also want to say in your interview is, you know, I am bringing X amount of experience, X amount of qualification, and I believe with that, coupled with my ability to be versatile and all of that, I am worth this amount. And I always say, sell yourself big. Sell yourself big. Going higher is better than going lower because when you sell yourself big, a lot of organizations may say, well, that that is out of our range. However, we are willing to pay this and
Mhm.
negotiate. Once you're worth it, our organizations, there are a lot of organizations who are going to pay you what you're worth. And if there's an organization that does not want to pay you what you're worth, do you really want to work there?
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And knowing your worth. Not only what the job is worth, but knowing your worth, that is definitely so important. We spoke a little bit about faith earlier, but I can't let you leave the platform without asking you, what does purpose mean to you? And what has your journey in fulfilling that? What has that been like?
What it means to me is something I'm destined to fulfill,
Mm-hmm.
something I'm destined to be. And honest, the journey has been rocky. It has been rocky, especially when you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to go out full scale out as an entrepreneur too. Sometimes you just want to quit because it's not moving fast enough. Or even in your family life, even in your, because I'm still studying, um, even in your educational life, like there is always that point where you want to quit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the things that does it for me is that when I'm at that point, for some reason, I always run into people and they're telling you their stories and you're conversing with them, and it's like you have a whole renewed spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to go ahead, you're willing to try again, you're willing to keep going. And oftentimes, sometimes I meet people and I am like testifying to them and pouring into them. And by doing that, it's like it's filling back my cup to say, hey, you're able to do this for this person. You can't stop now, you have more to go.
Life is always life, and that's my thing. And some days it's good, some days it's up. The word tells us that there's a time and place for everything under the sun. And so, in whatever season, as you said, you're helping others, but you're also encouraging yourself. Let us still push towards that. And so, you have your book. And before you tell us a little bit about it, what inspired you? Because you could have garnered this information and kept it to yourself. So, what inspired you to say, hey, let me share it with others?
It's so therapeutic. Even to this day, I read like when, if I'm going through a situation, I go back to the pages for inspiration. And while I was putting it together, I was documenting it. I said, you know what? People need to hear this. And even
Mhm,
with me saying that, I was still a bit shy. Like, maybe I shouldn't, like I'm thinking, listen, imposter syndrome is a thing.
mhm,
Um, Fear is a thing. I am thinking in my mind, oh my God, what will people say? Who will think that it's about this person and that person? And I was like, you know what? Fear is not of God.
mhm.
And if God put this into my heart for me to do it, then I have to fulfill my purpose in bringing
Amen.
it to light. And I would share certain snippets of the book with friends as I'm writing, right? And they was like, no, this is powerful. I can relate. Wow, And I was like, if I'm getting this type of feedback with my circle, and I know for a fact that there are a lot of people going through it because sometimes you're on TikTok and you just watch one video about a toxic place and you have the whole. And I was like, no, this is happening,
Mhm,
and maybe I can help other people to also go through it, to help them to thrive, to help them to think about things that they possibly wouldn't think about when they're going through it. Because my book is not just about highlighting what a toxic boss is, strategies and how to deal with them, but it also has a workbook section in the end that asks you the right questions. Like if you're planning your exit, if you're planning to stay, it asks you the questions. Ensure that you think thoroughly about things before executing.
absolutely. And that is good. And you had a launch recently. What was that feedback like?
Oh wow, we sold out.
That is
We
good news. So people want to know what is tea, and they definitely want to do that. You also have your platform, the career room. And for persons who want to connect with you, if they want to locate you for your book and everything else, where can they find you?
Oh, well, they can find me on TikTok and on Instagram as the Career Room. We're also on Facebook as the Career Room as well. Or they can visit my website at www.thecareerroom.org and engage me there. I am always willing and happy to talk to a fellow survivor.
Awesome. And for those who are listening and watching, don't worry, we'll have those on screen and in the captions so you can definitely connect to Loyette. And final, before I let you go, for persons who are out there, what would be your final words of encouragement?
Don't allow persons who don't have value in your life take up space in your mind. It doesn't matter if it's in a relationship, if it's in a workplace, wherever. Let that go and keep going.
Mhm.
You're going to meet your destiny along the way, but sometimes you just can't carry the dead weight with you. It's gonna keep you back. It's gonna slow you down.
Mhm.
So let go and let God.
Powerful gems this morning from our guest. Let go and let God release the dead weight. Don't let people who don't add value to your life take up space. Always sell yourself big. Don't sell yourself short. Know your worth in the workplace as well as what you are worth. And if at any point in time that level of love, honor, and everything else that you deserve is not being shared with you, perhaps it's time to plan our exit strategy. Lloyd, thank you so much for these wonderful gems. It was a privilege to share time and space with you, and thank you for sharing with our SIP crew, Purpose Seekers. Until next time, remember that it is not the beginning, but it is the continuing to the end until it is faithfully, wholesomely, purposefully, and wonderfully accomplished. I'm your host, Akeelia Thompson, and until next time, see you soon. Hi there. If you're out there and you wish to connect with Loyette, you may do so on Instagram at the following handles. That is the Career Room. That is TheCareerRoom on Instagram, as well as at Loyette Writes. That is LoyetteWrites on Instagram. You may also connect with her on IG and YouTube at Life with Loy. That is LIFEWITHLOY. And you may also follow her on TikTok at My Millennial Mom Journey. That is MYMILLENIALMOMJOURNEY. You may also send her an email at loyette@thecareerroom.org. That is LOYETTE at THECareerroom.org. Hi there, we are almost at the end of season 4, but if you are out there and you believe that you have a story that can bless the nations, please feel free to visit our website or send us a message on any of our social media platforms at Sold Into Purpose. That is SOULED into Purpose, and we'll be happy to share your story. Hi there, if you are out there and you wish to partner with us, all you have to do is to scan the information on your screen or feel free to send your donations on our website at souledintopurpose.com. That is SOULED intopurpose.com. We're more than happy to partner with you and we appreciate your support. When you vote for Akeelia Thompson, you're not just casting a vote. You're standing for purpose. You're choosing to elevate the voices of those who have gone unheard. It is a movement birthed out of obedience to God. It is a movement that dares to uplift, empower, and awaken purpose across the globe. This nomination isn't just mine. It represents every purpose-driven man and woman, every soul rising from the shadows to shine. So when you vote, you're voting for something that is much bigger than a title. You're voting for legacy, impact, transformation, and truth. Vote for Akeelia Thompson for the Empowerment in Action Award. Purpose deserves the spotlight, and let's bring it home together. Hey there, Purpose family. Thank you so much for your love and support. Want to help me bring this award home? Here's how you can vote in under a minute. Step 1, click the link in my bio or go to the link directly. Step 2, scroll to the category Empowerment in Action Award. Step 3, find my photo, Akeelia Thompson, and tap to vote. Step 4, hit submit and wait for your confirmation. Step 5, share with your friends, your group chats, your church fam, everybody. Your vote means the world to me. Let's make purpose win together. Sold into Purpose podcast is brought to you by Awesome Press, Inspirational Media Creations, Perez Jeweler, your favorite creativepreneur, and Elevated Events by Keels.